So I'm a little bit disappointed that it came out prior to the board being able to go through a negotiation process and probably let both candidates know, but that's what it is.
Outgoing JCPS Superintendent Marty Polio talking about the process to choose the man to replace him. And thanks for joining us here at 5. I'm Connie Leonard. It appears that selection has been made. Brian Yearwood set to get the job. Isaiah Kim Martinez is here to tell us more. Isaiah?
Well, this all started, Connie, of course, with that social media post that we all heard about from State Representative Jason Nemes. Of course, we know that the board and Brian Yearwood are still in negotiations right now, still in contract negotiations, and they're not confirming anything yet. You're looking at JCPS's next superintendent, seen here first live in our WHAS11 studio this week.
Every child should demonstrate at least a year's worth of growth, minimally, in a year's time.
Brian Yearwood is set to be the new leader of the school district, according to this social media post by State Representative Jason Nemes of Middletown. Nemes writing, quote, "We have a new superintendent in JCPS. I have already reached out to Superintendent Yearwood and offered friendship and support."
He very well may be the selection. I have no way to verify that or know whether that's it. I've been out and about all day long.
The man he's replacing, outgoing JCPS Superintendent Marty Polio, could not confirm the choice, but said he is aware of Nemes's post. If he is, are you confident that he is the right guy for the job here?
I mean, I think the board did its due diligence and went through a process. I don't know him, so I've never met him, so I can't say that.
Multiple sources also confirmed to WHAS11 that Yearwood is the guy, beating out the other finalist, Ben Schuldener. Yearwood is the former superintendent at a much smaller school district in Columbia, Missouri, telling our Doug Proffitt and Connie Leonard he supports tax increases here in Louisville to boost revenue.
We have to go out and raise taxes a bit so that we can support our school district.
You're for a tax increase then?
Yes, I would definitely be for a tax increase as long as every penny impacts our students.
Connie, of course, that was just 4 days ago, right in this spot. Of course, Yearwood, it's not lost on anybody. He would be the first person of color to lead JCPS full-time. And of course, I talked about that with Louisville Urban League CEO Lyndon Pryor. We'll have what he has to say on that here coming up at 6.
Okay, looking forward to that. Thanks so much, Isaiah. Well, here's what we know about Brian Yearwood. He began his career as a middle school physical science teacher and tennis coach at the Manor Independent School District. That's in Texas. He worked in administration as an assistant principal and principal at the elementary and middle school levels. Recently, he worked in a Missouri district as superintendent. There, the school system reached milestones, including a 16-point increase in its annual performance report. Now, last February, the district voted to extend his contract, but 9 months later, it was announced he was retiring. He signed a non-disclosure agreement with that district and was paid $667,000 in severance.
Sir, happy summer. You excited?
Lieutenant Marty Polio saying goodbye to the Wilder Wildcats on his last day at school at JCPS. It's a bittersweet goodbye. Dr. Polio was in the classrooms as a teacher and principal before moving to superintendent.
For superintendents across America, this 8 years to 10 years has been the toughest 10 years in the history of education, facing the two biggest crises we've ever had in education, which is a pandemic, which none of us had ever navigated through, and then just severe staffing shortages all across this nation. And so making change, positive change that I think is going to make a huge difference for JCPS for years while navigating through these major crises is something I'll look back and be very proud of.
And Polio served the district for 30 years as a teacher, coach, and district leader. All right, well, JCPS students and parents, they had a great weather day for the last day of school, didn't they, Mallory?
Yeah, gorgeous. A little bit chilly as the kids went off to the bus stop this morning, but this afternoon, I mean, you couldn't ask for a better day. Temperatures are certainly cooler than normal, running about 10 degrees below normal in the upper 60s, but it's extremely comfortable outside as we take a live look from our First Savings Bank U of L health camera from over in Jeffersonville. We started off the day with abundant sunshine, and since then we've just seen some clouds kind of build through midday. day and into the afternoon, but they are fair weather clouds, no rain with them. Dew points extremely low, upper 30s, lower 40s. That means our humidity is very low. You could feel that as you're out and about today. And satellite and radar, once again, some clouds passing through here, but nothing all too overcast and not carrying any rain along with them. Another change today, wind speeds a lot lower compared to Wednesday and Thursday when we were dealing with gusts up to about 30 miles per hour behind that system earlier in the week. Wind speeds right now between about 5 to 10 miles per hour. So that feels a lot more comfortable as well. Gorgeous night if you're heading to the Bats game. They've been at home all week. Temperatures will be in the 60s for first pitch at 7:15. Wind speeds once again staying light, 5 to 10 miles per hour under partly cloudy skies. And that sunset, it's getting close to 9 p.m. this time of year. At that point, temperatures will drop throughout the 60s, eventually in the 50s by midnight. And we will drop down into the 50s, lower 50s, it looks like in Louisville. Elsewhere, though, expect another night in the upper 40s outside of the city. So it'll be another cool night, a pretty nice day tomorrow with just a few sprinkles possible and high temperatures in the low to mid 70s. We'll take a look at what you can expect for your Sunday and Memorial Day. That's coming up in our extended forecast. Connie.
All right. Thank you, Mallory. Well, a man is in custody tonight after police say shots were fired on I-64 eastbound this morning. Louisville Metro Police said they responded to the area of I-64 East and Hurstbourne Parkway just before 8 in the morning. A driver said someone shot at his car while he was driving on the interstate. Luckily, no one was hurt. A little while later, police arrested 23-year-old Abdul Malik Ali and charged him with first-degree wanton endangerment, first-degree criminal mischief, second-degree assault, and possession of a handgun by a prohibited person. LMPD said there is no apparent motive, and they don't believe the suspect and victim knew each other. Well, 2 men are dead after a shooting early this morning at a business on Dixie Highway in Louisville. Just before 2:30, Metro Police responded to a shooting at JJ Food Mart. Both men were taken to U of L Hospital where they died. Police said everyone is accounted for. But if you have any information regarding this case, please call the anonymous tip line. That number, 574-LMPD. Casey Knoll, the daughter of Misty and Jamie Knoll, was released from jail on Thursday, according to Harrison County Sheriff Nick Smith. Casey pleaded guilty to using a credit card from her father's nonprofit company, New Chapel EMS, for over $100,000 in personal purchases on things like jewelry, makeup, travel, alcohol, food, electronics, and accessories. She was sentenced to 9 months behind bars in January. But level 6 felonies are a 50% crime in Indiana, so she only had to serve 4.5 months. She will now begin 55 months of probation. 18-year-old Demarius Person has pleaded guilty to his role in the Harvest homecoming shooting. His sentence is 4 years in prison, followed by 2 years on home incarceration if he has good behavior in jail. He was initially charged with murder, aggravated battery, assisting a criminal, and obstruction of justice. But the plea deal drops the murder and battery charges. The shooting happened last October in the middle of the popular festival. 1 teen was killed, 2 others hurt. He is the 3rd person to be sentenced in this case. 2 others go to court later this year. An Oldham County mother is honoring her late son by hosting a blood drive in his memory. In March of 2024, Jordan Wells was a healthy 23-year-old South Oldham grad who was shot in a random act of violence near Dairy Castle. Now, he underwent several surgeries and received more than 100 units of blood. He ultimately died weeks after that shooting, but in his final week, he was awake and able to communicate with his family. His mother says those blood transfusions were key in giving the Wells family more time with Jordan before he died.
When Jordan was in the hospital for 3 weeks, he received over 119 blood products. So when we were in the hospital with him, we saw how much blood he was, receiving. At that time, we knew we wanted to give back and let somebody else have a chance and give hope to someone else, another family, and save lives.
Hilliard said it felt amazing to see people carrying on her son's legacy. She said she's proud of Jordan for still saving people, even in death. Well, a packed room of neighbors shared their hopes and fears for Mid-City Mall in the Highlands. Early this morning, that's when the meeting was. Well, it's been up for sale, of course, for 6 months now. Their district councilman says the property will most certainly grow up and out, as our Ian Hardwick reports.
I've always come back to Mid-City Mall.
It's so essential to so many people.
We need to make it transit and bike and walking friendly.
Lastly is I'd love to see it be interesting architecturally.
Mid-City Mall's neighbors love it for a variety of reasons, including the Highland Shelby Park Library they packed out for a meeting on the mall's future. And some local developers listened, quietly in the doorway of the packed room. Mid-City Mall went up for sale in November. It starts at $11 million, with nowhere to go but up in price and height. At least 6 stories, says Highlands Councilman Ben Reno Weber.
Having talked to a number of developers about this, in order to make the math work on this space, it's very likely to go up.
The co-owner of this value market told me that the lease is good through the end of this year and that he's working on getting another one signed for next year. But after that, it will be up to whatever developer decides to buy the whole place. A place the councilman believes will stretch to the edge of Bardstown Road once all the deals and construction wrap up. In Louisville, Ian Hardwick, WHAS 11, on your side.
Now, if you couldn't make it to today's meeting, the next meeting will be at the same spot, the Highlands Shelby Park Library, June 17th at 6 p.m.